Check 1, 2, check, check.
Afternoon. I'd like to call to order the Scottsdale Housing Agency Governing Board on January 9th. And could we start with a roll call, please?
Chair Lurie.
Here.
Vice Chair Jung.
Here.
Commissioner Jameson. Commissioner Shear.
Here.
Commissioner Dodds.
Here.
Commissioner Turgill.
Here.
And Commissioner Cooley.
Here.
Chair Lurie, you have a quorum.
Thank you. So this is an opportunity for public comment. Citizens may address the members of the Housing Agency Governing Board during public comment. Public comment cards are limited to 3 minutes per speaker. And what else do I want to say about it? They're accepted for both agendized and non-agendized items and may be submitted to city staff. Do we have any public comment cards? Okay, so we'll move on to approval of minutes. The last time the Housing Agency Governing Board met was November 14th. Can I have a motion to approve the minutes from the November 14th meeting?
So moved.
Hold on.
Second.
Oh, wait, there's more. Go ahead.
May I make a motion to approve with amending item number 3 that the board thanked Commissioner Brownells for her service. If we could just have that added to the minutes, that's my motion.
All right, and with that motion, I'm sorry?
It's actually there.
Oh, it is there? Did you?
I didn't hear that, Neil.
Yeah,
said it's-
it looks like it is included in the minutes.
It mentioned that she expressed her appreciation.
Oh, I'm sorry.
Not that we expressed
Fair
our
enough.
appreciation for her.
Okay, and with that motion made, do we have a,
I second that amended
all right,
minutes motion.
okay, and a roll call vote, please.
Chair Lurie.
Yes?
Vice Chair Jung.
Yes.
Commissioner Jameson. Commissioner Shear.
Yes.
Commissioner Turgill.
Yes.
Commissioner Dodds.
Yes.
Commissioner Cooley.
Yes.
All right, so moving on, we have Ethan Whitman here as the landlord liaison to provide an update on the landlord engagement initiatives through the housing agency. Ethan, the floor is yours.
Hello, members of the commission. I'm Ethan, the landlord liaison, and I'll be covering our achievements and projects that we've covered over the past few months in regards to landlord engagement. The first thing I'm going to cover today is our Landlord Connection event, which is an informational and engagement event for our landlord partners. We had our first Landlord Connection event on September 18th, located at our offices at Paiute Neighborhood Center. The event allowed our community partners to learn more about the services that we provide to the community. We had multiple office staff present, and we cover the basics of how the housing program, how our unit inspections are conducted, new changes to those inspection standards, the benefits of working with our program, the introduction of small area fair market rents, and the Landlord Advisory Board, finishing out with a question and answer and discussion session with our staff. We are planning to have this event every 6 months, and currently our next Landlord Connection event is scheduled for April 2nd. During the event, we had approximately 20 housing partners in attendance and more that expressed interest to attend but were unable to. This event gave our office the opportunity to connect names with faces of our housing partners and to help them better understand our programs and responsibilities in relation to our housing programs. The landlords in attendance took the opportunity to discuss issues amongst themselves and get input from the staff. And then following the event, landlords were asked for their feedback. Most of the responses stated they were excited about the future of this event, and we had some responses asking for more detailed information about the benefits that we offer in our office. We'll be taking the feedback received at the event to use as we plan for more landlord connection events in the future. Next up is our courtesy property listings, which is located on the city website on the housing page. One of the benefits that landlords have with working with our housing program is that they can post their available units on our website for free for any potential tenant to see. Currently, they will call or email the office providing relevant information about the unit, and I will get the information uploaded so that it is visible on our website within 1 business day. The housing specialists inform the tenants about the listings website page, so they have an easier time finding a landlord that accepts the voucher and is within our payment standards and their budget. Having this resource has allowed the tenants to decrease the time searching for units and increasing our utilization rate, and we have also seen an increase in available units on our listings page as well. Over the last few months, we have seen some big changes to the courtesy property listings page. It has been refined to better serve landlords and tenants. With the introduction of the new city website back in July, the listings page changed from being updated monthly and sometimes weekly to now being updated daily as new units become available. Right. In addition to the web version of the list, if someone requests a printed version of our listings page, we are able to print it with up to date at the time of request. The printout also has a QR code on it, directing them to the website for more up-to-date information as time passes by. And then available units can be filtered by the number of bedrooms or the unit size of the unit, so tenants can see what is available for the voucher size they have. And then currently on screen is a view of the listings webpage. This basically kind of shows you all of the information that's on there, the bedroom size, the address, and if it's an apartment complex, the name of the complex, the rent and deposit amounts, when the unit is available, and then if utilities are included or not, and if it's what utility provider it is. And then a link to an outside listing page if they have it, as well as contact information. Now, we have some more additions coming to the listing that are currently underway. We are working on a portal where landlords can directly input information for listings on the website without having to wait for myself or another member of our team to get back to them. The goal is with that is to decrease the amount of time it takes for a unit to get listed. They will also be able to keep track of what units they have available on the listings page, update information about the unit if needed while it's on there, and then remove the listing once the unit has been filled. With the implementation of the tool, there will be more information about the units available on the website, such as if the unit is a single-family home, a multi-family home, or an apartment complex, what floor the unit is on, if applicable, and what zip code the unit is in. In addition to the information that is currently available, that'll be in addition to the information that's already on there. And with that, there'll be more filtering options so they can filter by those additional fields that'll be on the listings page. Here's a look at the submission form that'll soon be available on our website. Towards the top, we have where the landlord will enter their contact information so tenants can reach them. And then the next section is where they fill out all that information for the type of housing, the bedroom, bathroom size, the address, the rent amount, the deposit amount, when it's available. And then towards the bottom is where they include what utilities are included in the rent, if any, and it kind of breaks it down from there. And then at the bottom, they can include a link to a listing website as well. This is currently in testing right now, and it should be live on the website soon. Next thing is with the introduction of small area fair market rent, that has given us the opportunity to improve tools our landlords have to inform, our tools that we have to inform our housing partners about the changes that have been recently implemented. So from quick background, the Department of Housing and Urban Development has required that the Phoenix metro area to implement small area fair market rents in 2025. As you know, this board approved the proposed payment standards for 2025 in the November 14th meeting. This will require that payment standards are set by zip code rather than by municipality. And then the payment standards went into effect on January 1st of this year. And that means all new leases starting from now on will use the new system. For internal preparations that we have taken for small area fair market rents, some of the changes that I listed before with the courtesy property listings page, such as including zip codes and sorting units by zip code, was to prepare for small area fair market rent. I created a payment standard chart for both landlords and tenants to use. Landlords can easily see what they can get for each unit size in each zip code, and tenants will be given a sheet that has the zip code payment standards for the particular size voucher they have. There is also a map showing the zip codes in and around Scottsdale, so landlords and tenants can have an idea where those payment standards are effective. And then we are working on an interactive map for our website, so someone will be able to search the address to see if the unit is in Scottsdale and then what zip code it is in. The interactive map is also in testing and will be live soon. And then one more tool that we're working on is the affordability calculator, which will allow tenants to see if they can afford rent that landlords are asking for in different zip codes and with the different payment standards as well. So up on the screen right now, I have a map of the Scottsdale area zip codes that include zip codes in and around Scottsdale. And then next to it is our housing calculator. And on here, tenants or landlords can put in the voucher size, which is how many bedrooms the unit is, the zip code, and put in what the tenant can put in what their income is, and then what the contracted rent is, and it'll let the tenant know that the unit is affordable. And towards the bottom, it has a breakdown of utilities, so that if landlords do not include utilities in rent, they can check on there to see potentially how much lower their rent would have to be to fit within payment standards, and as well as tenants to use that as a tool as well. That is also in the testing phase and will be live on our website soon. We've also done some marketing to prepare for everyone affected with the changes. There have been flyers created that provide an overview of what small area fair market rent is and the benefits and changes expected, tailored towards our landlords, tenants, elected officials, and the general public. Current tenants being housed on our HCV program received a postcard explaining the changes. Current landlords and other housing partners also received a similar but slightly different postcard explaining the changes and benefits to them as well. There have been multiple posts on the city's social media platforms introducing the idea of small area fair market rents and providing more information for those interested. Flyers have been sent out to multiple community centers across the city for the public to see, and they have a QR code on them to direct them to our website for more information. The City Council and Council-elect were also notified about the introduction of small area fair market rents for 2025. Up on the screen right now is a few of the materials that we have made with our graphics department to introduce small area fair markets rent and kind of give a brief overview of what it is in a easiest way as possible. In addition to these, we also will be including this information on our annual landlord information packets. The next thing we have is our Landlord Advisory Board, which is our newest project and will be implemented to increase and improve landlord engagement. We are beginning the introduction of the Landlord Advisory Board. This will be a board of individuals that work with Scottsdale Housing to better engage and inform our community partners of the programs that we are providing. The plan is to have meetings twice a year discussing market trends, incentive ideas, struggles, accomplishments, with a board of 5 to 7 housing industry professionals. Our goal is to increase engagement with our housing choice voucher landlords, improve relationships with our housing partners, and have additional line of communication with our office. So the status right now is our initial applications to become a board member were sent out in December with the requested return time of those applications of early January for review. Now that we are there, we are beginning the initial review of the applications that we have received. Our goal is to have a mix of landlords that are on our program, housing professionals, and other community partners in the housing field to give a good representation of the housing as a whole on our board. Our goal is to have the board ready to meet by the end of the spring, this spring at the latest, And then following the first meeting, like I said earlier, it'll be each meeting after that will be approximately 6 months later. And that's what I have for you today.
Thank you, Ethan. Looking around, questions?
Question.
Mary?
Hi, I have a question for you. How many other housing agencies for HUD have the Landlord Advisory Board in Arizona, for example?
Commissioner, I don't know the answer to that question off the top of my head, but I can get back to you on that.
Well, I think it's a great idea to engage, and you know, if you aren't replicating a model, I appreciate you initiating this concept.
Thank you.
Lee?
Hello, good to see you again, Ethan. I'll work backwards. The board that's going to meet twice a year, will that be a public meeting or just with the board members?
That would just be with the board members and our office staff. It's not a board or commission like a council.
Gotcha.
Yes.
And the SAFMR
Yes.
program, those flyers that you showed, are those available to download from the housing site?
So currently they are just, we emailed them to our housing partners and also mailed them. They're not on our website currently. We are working on getting a brand new page just for small area fair market rents. Our goal was to get it done before the new year, but we had some delays with that.
If and when that document becomes available, I could share it with a bunch of people. So let me know. That'd be great. What else? And then on the landlord connection, I was at that meeting on the September 18th. It was great turnout, lots of interest. I expect that you're going to continue that with every one of these. And you're going to do it, did you say quarterly?
It'll be twice
a year. Twice a year. Yes. That's great. That's super. And on the courtesy property listings, I presume you'll be tracking traffic for that page as well?
Yes, I have a tracking sheet that kind of shows how many units we have on the list.
And what about hits to the website?
I don't have anything right now tracking that. I can work with our IT
Okay.
staff.
Yeah, it might be nice to know, just see what that does. If I could read my own writing, I could get into the next question. Oh, and also on that page, I realized that there was some sorting options available on the calculator, but on the courtesy property listings will eventually some of the options be to sort by like number of bedrooms, things of that nature.
Yeah, so currently tenants and landlords can sort the courtesy property listing by bedroom size. That's the only filtering option they have right now. When the introduction of this new form launches, they'll be able to do it by bedroom size, zip code, if it's an apartment complex, single family home, what floor the unit is on, a bunch of, basically anything that's on there, they can filter it to best suit what they're looking for.
All right, only two more questions, Your Honor. Well, I guess he's the honor. But anyway, I noticed there was a button to view listings. Will there be any thumbnails available on the landing page at some point to give people a look-see, or do they have to click through?
So currently, we don't have the ability to have pictures on the listings, but they can link to an outside listing page where they can have a bunch of pictures and more information for those.
And did any of the landlords or property owners suggest using MLS data to populate the page, or is it strictly manual?
I haven't heard any suggestions.
Okay,
Yeah.
then let's not bring it up.
Yeah.
Thank you, Ethan. Appreciate all the hard work. Thank you.
Thank you.
Neil?
Thank you, Mr. Chair. Ethan, great presentation. Just a quick comment. I want to thank Mary, yourself, the staff, for the headway that you have made over the last period of time to take what can be a sort of complicated process for our housing choice voucher clients, prospective clients, and landlords, and simplify, clarify as best you can. I know you guys have made some great headway, and I'd like you to just continue to push down that path to make it as easy as possible. So thank you.
Thank you.
Yes, Pat?
Ethan, I would echo all the comments up here. Great presentation, and it feels like we're bringing the whole program into the 21st century, sort of duplicating a lot of the services that are out there for the a normal private transaction that you would make these days, all on the internet. I am a little curious, you emphasize that these are free listings. And that is, can you explain to me how that and maybe some of the other things within this system are a competitive advantage for the landlord? Maybe Commissioner Cooley could explain to this, but do landlords normally pay for listings in the MLS? Or, I'm just curious about how that works. I understand this is going to be kind of a very targeted system, so a landlord could get into it and really target the the audience that he or she is looking for. But can you kind of speak to that point, either of you?
As far as the MLS, the multiple listing service is what we're acronymizing there, you have to be a member to gain access, so there is a fee involved, but I don't think there's a fee per listing per se. And I can't imagine you plan on charging just because you're just grabbing all the people you can get in the door, right?
No, the goal with the listings page is to reduce vacancy rates and increase voucher utilization. So it's one of the big benefits we have, and that landlords have really liked and have liked to seen the improvements that we've made so far. They've seen it as a really good asset that we have to provide them.
Thank you.
Ethan, thank you for your presentation. Thank you for the great work that you're doing in the city. I want to echo other comments that this is a really important initiative, and glad to see the city of Scottsdale supporting it. So thank you again.
Thank you.
Moving on, we've got Mary Witkowski, who's going to talk to us about the annual report, which will end up in a roll call vote to approve the annual report. And this is we'll have a separate one for the commission, but this is on the Housing Governing Board. So Mary?
Chair Lurie, members of the commission, I'm just going to go through some highlights of the 2024 annual housing report. During last calendar year, the Housing Governing Board met an average of, not average, but met 8 times. We did receive 1 public comment during that time frame. Our meetings were held between January 11th of 2024 all the way through to November of 2024. Some of our specific topics that we covered throughout the year with regards to were some presentations on overviews on our special purpose vouchers, which were foster youth and independence, and our VASH vouchers. We held our public hearings to address our annual agency plan as well as our administrative plan revisions. We passed resolutions and discussed the small area fair market rents. We also passed a resolution with regards to our payment standards for tenant-based rental assistance programs. We provided an overview and presentation on our quality assurance division audit, as well as the positive corrective actions that have taken place and moved our program forward. We also discussed moving on strategies and passed a resolution as the first city in the Metro Valley to join against with MAG and the continuum of care for those move on strategies. As we move forward to next year, some anticipated key issues that you should hear about during this year is the continued need for affordable housing units. We do have our consolidated action plan scheduled to tentatively be presented to the mayor and city council in April 22nd of 2025. We're looking to increase the utilization of our housing choice vouchers. We have issued a request for proposal for project-based vouchers. We've issued that for 25, and that RFP closes tomorrow. When there is an award of vouchers, it will be coming to the Housing Board for approval, as well as hearing more in a presentation about how the move-on strategies are going. Some future significant work products that you should expect from us in the very near future is our Public Housing Agency 5-year plan. So in addition to our community development block grant 5-year plan, we also present one for the housing agency. We will have administrative plan updates, which is our policies and procedures. And then we will enter into an agreement, a housing assistance payment, or AHAP, for project-based vouchers. What's not listed on here, and I can add as under additional comments, is we were recently awarded a family self-sufficiency grant for an additional year that will come before the governing board for approval. Some upcoming opportunities or outcomes or challenges that we anticipate to face this year is the implementation of small area fair market rents. I'm kind of watching our budget very closely to ensure we do not go into shortfall. The implementation of our landlord advisory board. We were recently awarded a grant through the Maricopa Association of Governments for technical assistance for generating community partnerships, development, and funding mechanisms in affordable housing. The Housing Opportunity Through Modernization Act, also known as HOTMA, we discussed that a little bit last year. Those provisions with regards to income and assets will take effect as of July 1st of 2025 this year. We'll continue to increase our enrollment in family self-sufficiency. Last year we doubled, so we're hoping to keep that momentum going. And we have continued our partnership with the Veterans Affairs Administration, and at the end of December, we received an additional award of 10 VASH vouchers. And with that, that concludes the annual report, and I will open it up for additional comments or questions and recommendations to add.
Comments, questions from the group? Neil?
Mr. Chair, I would just like to add, similar to what I said regarding Ethan's presentation, there's a lot of administrative work associated with what you have to do for supporting our housing programs. There's plenty to do without pushing the envelope, and I appreciate the fact that the staff is not passive. You continue to seek out ways to increase occupancy and the use of our vouchers and increasing vouchers and, collaborating with other partners in the Valley. And I mean, that's a credit to you and the staff. And I just want to say I appreciate that effort to not just sit pat, but to continue to move forward. Thank you.
Other comments or questions? Okay. I did, and we'll soon get to the commission annual report, and I drafted some additional comments from the commission, somewhat echoing what Neil just shared, really identifying the exceptional service that the city staff have provided and thanking the city staff. But having said that, are there additional comments from the board? Otherwise, could we get a motion to approve the annual report?
I would make a motion to approve the annual report for 2024.
Second?
Right. A roll call vote, please.
Chair Lurie,
Yes.
Vice Chair Jung,
Yes.
Commissioner Shear,
Yes.
Commissioner Dodds,
Yes.
Commissioner Turgel,
Yes.
Commissioner Cooley.
Yes.
And I do note that Commissioner Jameson just arrived.
I do apologize.
Okay. Next agenda item is identification of future agenda items for the Housing Governing Board.
I have one, it may just be a question. I was just curious if we were any closer to finding a resident board member.
Chair Lurie, members of the commission, we are still actively seeking applicants.
Good question. Thank you. I think we will adjourn the meeting. So, roll call vote, I guess. Yeah.
Chair Lurie, you do need to have a motion first.
Oh, right.
So moved.
And second.
Okay. Roll call vote, please.
Chair Lurie,
Yes.
Vice Chair Jung,
Yes.
Commissioner Jameson,
Yes.
Commissioner Shear,
Yes.
Commissioner Dodds,
Yes.
Commissioner Turgel,
Yes.
Commissioner Cooley.
Yes.
Oh, wow, that's loud. I'd like to call to order the Human Services Advisory Commission on January 9th. And could we start with a roll call, please?
Good evening, Commission. Chair Lurie,
Yes.
Vice Chair Jung,
Yes, or here.
Commissioner Turgel,
Yes, here.
Commissioner Dodds,
Here.
Commissioner Shear,
Here.
Commissioner Cooley,
Here.
Commissioner Jameson.
Here.
You have a quorum.
Excellent. So it's an opportunity for public comment. Citizens may address the members of the Human Services Advisory Commission during public comment. It's reserved for citizen comment regarding non-agendized items. Arizona state law prohibits Human Services Advisory Commission from discussing or taking action. And with that said, public comment is limited to 3 minutes per speaker. Do we have any comment cards?
Commissioner, Chair Lurie, we do not.
Okay, so moving forward, approval of minutes from our December 12th, 2024 meeting. Minutes are attached. Can we get a motion to approve?
So moved.
Second.
At 2 seconds? All right, and a roll call vote, please.
Okay. Chair Lurie,
Yes.
Vice Chair Jung,
Yes.
Commissioner Turgel,
Yes.
Commissioner Dodds,
Yes.
Commissioner Shear,
Yes.
Commissioner Cooley,
Yes.
Commissioner Jameson.
Yes.
Thank you.
All right, moving forward, it's going to be like a deja vu moment because we just approved an annual report for the Housing Governing Board, and we will now review the annual report for the Human Services Advisory Commission. Kara?
Thank you very much, Chair Lurie and members of the Commission. So I, too, will just highlight some of the key things from the 2024 annual report. We had 16 meetings that were held, 1 public comment, and some of the significant things that I circled that I thought were interesting, and I think the Commission did too, was the Blue Zones Project Scottsdale. Getting a presentation from Blue Zones was a really interesting, good information meeting, as they all were. Learning more about the camping in public places code amendment that happened in our community this year and how that impacts the work of Human Services working with our Scottsdale Police Department. And then all the information that we learned around homelessness, homeless navigation, and homelessness prevention that the department does. Some of the anticipated key issues that this department is going to be working on into the future, into 2025, are rent and utility assistance process improvements to really try to tackle the wait times with households that are waiting for assistance with rent and utility. Homelessness and homelessness prevention will continue to be a main focus for this department as we move into 2025. And a big focus on senior services, our largest demographic in the city of Scottsdale, so we are going to be doing some serious focus on our senior centers and the programs that we're offering. And then also the food bank expansion project. So I'm going to give a little bit more of an update on the food bank expansion project in my director's report, but that will be a new endeavor for us, and we do anticipate some work around that expansion. Future significant work products, what we're really going to be focusing on is our strategic plan has just been complete. So in 2025, we are going to start the work of putting that plan into place and achieving some of those goals, starting out in year 1 in 2025. So that's going to be our significant work that will entail a lot of work going into it. Upcoming priorities, challenges, what we really want to focus on is strengthening the way that we collect and report out on the data in this department. So we're going to be working on using technology to do that, getting more together as staff to talk about what's important to track, make sure that we're tracking and have accurate data that is not difficult to get to. Right now, the department has a lot of data, but when you try to find it, it takes a little bit of time to figure out where it's at. So we really want to focus on getting our data organized, accessible, making sure it's really meaningful data that we're reporting out on and using as we make decisions, especially as we launch a strategic plan. And then the additional comments and recommendations, I did work with Chair Lurie to develop the comments and recommendations from that standpoint, so I can hand it over to you, Chair, if you want to talk about those.
Thank you, Kara. And I believe these are comments that individually I spoke or emailed to all of you. But one of the things I wanted to do was really highlight the exceptional services that are provided through the Human Services Department in the city, and innovative programs, particularly innovation around homelessness, that the workforce employment program that's been in place and so forth, as well as highlighting the fact that really the extraordinary work done by the Strategic Planning Focus Group that resulted in 1,600 plus residents completing the survey, 26 community focus groups in the priority areas that have been highlighted above. And then just closing with thanking the city and looking forward to collaboration in the year ahead.
Thank you, Chair Lori. So with that, that is the 2024 annual report for the Human Services Advisory Commission.
Okay, and with that, any comments or questions? Otherwise, could we get a motion to approve the annual report?
So moved.
Second.
All right, and a roll call vote, please?
Chair Lori,
Yes.
Vice Chair Jung,
Yes.
Commissioner Turgel,
Yes.
Commissioner Dodds,
Yes.
Commissioner Cheer,
Yes.
Commissioner Cooley,
Yes.
and Commissioner Jameson. Thank you.
Thank you for that. This is now the opportunity for us to do our annual review. I know this is new to Commissioner Cooley, but it will be an endeavor moving forward. The CDBG, Scottsdale Cares, General Funds, SRP, MIC, and Endowment. And Chad, it looks like you're already at the microphone and ready to take us through.
Chair Lori, members of the commission, good evening, and welcome to the beginning of the 25-26 funding process. Thank you all for participating in this and putting endless hours into reviewing our proposals. It always turns out great in the end. Jean, if we could put the PowerPoint up. So just picture a guy on a horse, and it says Human Service Commission. Funding process 25-26. I think it's one of the buttons on the side to change the screen. All right, see, guy on a horse, 25-26 funding process. Okay. So we skipped the slide, but the agenda is we're going to go over key dates in the process. Then we are going to filter through administrative changes, and then after that, we will go over the actual funding sources. Then we will review all the tools we have available for reviewing the proposals, and then we're going to take a look at Neighborly, which is where you enter your scoring. We also will have Melissa McNeil, Community Grant Specialist, presenting on all the funding sources, so I will take a little bit of a break in the middle of the presentation. So to begin with, in late September, we put out an OFA for our available funding for the year. With that, we had an applicant orientation. In early October, Commissioner Scheer spoke at that applicant orientation, and then on October 18th, proposals were due and submitted in Neighborly. From there, we had Human Services staff review all the applications for completeness, applicability, and then also We went through and scored those applications ourselves and also presented any questions we had to the agencies via email, and they had until November 27th to respond to those questions. As commissioners, this year, if you do have any questions for agencies, we ask that you submit those directly to me by January 31st via email. From there, staff will take those emails and send them off to the appropriate commissioners, get the responses back, and then we will be posting those on Neighborly. There will not be an in-person Q&A this year. Then on February 20th, your scores, commissioner scores, will be due in Neighborly. So all scoring is finalized in Neighborly. We will be providing some tools that you can use at home or wherever you might be scoring that you can write down on those or use an Excel sheet, but the actual finalized scoring goes into Neighborly. And then from there, February 27th is the big meeting where we all get together and rank the proposals based on average score, and you guys get to determine who gets funded what. And then those funding recommendations are finalized March 13th, and then we take those to council on April 22nd. Along with the funding recommendations, they will coincide with our annual action plan, and this year also our 5-year consolidated plan. And then on May 20th, we will take our funding recommendations for Scottsdale Cares, endowment, SRP, and general funds. Some of this is review from our meeting back in the fall, but we're just going to go over it real quick. Each agency is limited to one proposal per funding source. They're also limited to one proposal per program. So you can't submit multiple proposals for the same program in different funding sources. We did have to move a couple agencies around due to this fact, so you'll see that in the proposals. Funding caps were submitted almost required for all funding sources except for SRP, MIC. And then we also consolidated some of the questions. There are some different questions in there, and we just removed some questions altogether. As I said before, the Q&A process is not in person anymore. That will be done via email. Questions to us are due by January 31st to present to the agencies that you may have. We're still doing the 1 to 10 scoring for the priority, and then we have the 1 to 5 scoring for the demonstrated capacity and historical performance. So as I talked about before, the Human Services staff evaluation will be noted in the proposals. It's the second page in the proposal packets. We'll go over that in a second. Everything that is a part of the Human Services evaluation will be on a blue sheet, in which you will see the background of the paper will be blue, or the background of the PDF will be blue. And it will notate the questions that we asked, and then it will also notate the responses from the commissioners. And then following that will be the staff scoring and historical performance from the agencies.
Just a correction, we'll look at the responses from the agencies.
Yes.
Yes, okay,
Responses are posted inside of the proposals on SharePoint right now.
okay, thank you.
Scoring and evaluation tool. This is a tool that we present to the agencies in the applicant orientation to kind of guide them on how you guys are scoring. It's also a tool for you to utilize if you choose. This is an optional tool, but it does help kind of direct you where in the proposals you may find some of these answers and questions to score these sections. Also note that we did change the scoring. Program description used to be 5 questions, 0 to 3. Now it's just 1 score, 0 to 15. Note that we're looking for the same information within that section, but it's just 1 score, so you can weight however you want within that 0 to 15. Demonstrated capacity and historical data. So this is where you're going to find staff scoring. So we scored the top 5 right there, including the priority. And then the bottom section right here Only thing you'll see here would be a -10 if the agency failed to submit their response to the Human Services evaluation on time, or if they didn't submit it altogether. And down here in the staff comments section, there are some comments put in there by us based on what the score was, and they'll be highlighted in yellow so you can't miss them. And then historical data, that's just showing their performance in the past, how much they've requested, how well they did with what they were proposing to serve, and how many they actually served. Also note this year, a new agency, we gave them a 4 on everything opposed to a 3 from last year. Funding priorities have not changed. They are still same as last year, outside of we added positive youth development for Scottsdale Cares. Okay, now we're going to go over the actual funding sources. I'm going to bring up Melissa McNeil, Community Grant Specialist, to review that for you.
Good evening, Chair Lurie and members of Commission. My name is Melissa McNeil. It's nice to be here this evening. So I'm going to review over the available funds, the requested funds from the proposals, and then give you a brief breakdown at the end, and then I'll send it back to Chad. So for CDBG, the available funds versus the requested funds, there's $160,000 available for public service activities, only addressing homelessness, supportive services, and shelters. A funding cap shall be enforced. Requested proposals amounts shall not exceed, for a single agency, $40,000. This year we tried to implement a lead agency with up to 2 partner agencies with a total funding cap of $80,000. We did not receive any proposals with that. The anticipated available funding is approximately $160,000. We have received 6 proposals with $265,000 requested for those 6 proposals, and that leaves a deficit of $75,000. CDBG non-public services, housing, and public facilities, there were no proposals received for those funds. For Scottsdale Cares, this is a popular funding source. We have the funding priorities: emergency housing assistance, crisis case management, vulnerable populations, seniors and disabled, and the positive development of youth, excuse me. And with this, we added, we have a few high school students from Scottsdale Mayor's Council, and they will score the Scottsdale Cares proposals as a group for an additional score in this section. The available funds versus the requested funds. Anticipated available funding was $180,000 with a funding cap of $20,000. In this funding source, we have 22 proposals received, totaling $357,000. That leaves a deficit of $177,000. For general funds, the priorities are emergency housing assistance, crisis case management, vulnerable populations, seniors and disabled. The available funds versus the requested funds is $80,000 with a funding cap of $20,000. In this section, we have 6 proposals received, totaling $120,000 with a deficit of $40,000. SRP MIC of eligible activities, this would serve home-delivered meals and congregate meals. The available funds for this would be $130,000, and we have 1 proposal for the total amount of $130,000. The endowment funds. Scottsdale Community Endowment Fund is used to carry out the purposes of community projects and programs for the public good within the city. The Herbert Drinkwater Youth Fund is used to support City of Scottsdale youth programs. Anticipated funding is $8,600. We received 2 proposals totaling $17,000, leaving a deficit of $8,600. So they both requested the maximum amount. So up here's a breakdown of the funding and what we have for CDBG public service. We have 160,000. The priorities are homelessness, supportive services, and shelters at the funding cap at 40,000. Scottsdale Cares total available is 180,000 with the funding cap at 20,000. General funds, 80,000 with the funding cap at 20,000. SRP MIC, 130,000. Endowment, 8,600 with the cap at 8,600. So this is the fun part Chad will cover with you. It's the SharePoint and Neighborly and a little bit of the ins and outs. But again, as he stated, we're available to answer any questions, walk you through the portal and SharePoint if you guys have any questions after this.
Thank you, Melissa. Chair Lurie, members of the commission, we're going to dive into the technical aspect of this and all the tools we can provide. We have a commission full of veterans and one rookie, so I'll be looking right at you, Commissioner Cooley, most of the time. So everything we have to offer or show is that you use for scoring is going to be in the SharePoint website. So today I sent an email to anyone that had not been invited to the website before to join the SharePoint site. So you should have received one, Commissioner Cooley. From there, if you don't have a Microsoft account, you would have to create one, create a logon, and then once you get your password and your login set, then you will go and you can go to the website. The website's going to contain an updated calendar of events. The SharePoint site is going to have document storage, so it's going to have all the proposals. We had 37 submitted proposals this year. Prior to the meeting, I handed out a sheet that kind of gives a breakdown of each funding source and how many requests we had and the amounts of deficits, kind of what Melissa just went over. We also have our evaluation tools in there. We have our scoring tools in there, and then we have our contact information in there as well. So I am going to attempt there we go, look at that. Okay, so here is our SharePoint site. Homepage has just got the calendar of events. Then we can go into general information, where it's got our PowerPoint presentation today, the NARO, or the Notice of, or NOFA, which was submitted back in September. And then it's also got the presentation that we did for the agencies, the applicant orientation. Here is our proposal section. We got the previous year proposals. If you're interested, you can go back and look at those if you can't fall asleep at night. And then we have the most current ones. So they're in order: CDBG, Scottsdale Cares, general funds. So once you click on a proposal, we're going to have a table of contents, and it's going to kind of give a breakdown of everything. And as you float over, these are actually bookmarks, and it will take you wherever you want to go in the proposal. So there's going to be a cover page on each proposal. Then you're going to have the human services evaluation. Then you'll have your demonstrated capacity historical data. And then you're going to have the original proposals. So as you go through, and you'll see in some of our evaluations, we ask them to revise their budget. So when you go through, we're going to have the revised budget up first with the blue background showing that this is a revised budget, and then we'll still have their original proposal after that. So for instance, here is a proposal. This is the review that staff had did. And then we had 5 questions for them. And then following this is the responses to our questions. And then potentially, they had to make some updates to their proposals, so those are in blue. And then once we get through that, then we have our historical data. We have comments from staff highlighted in yellow, and then we have staff scoring as well. And then following that is their original proposal. So there's 37 of these. We won't go through all of them, obviously. And then, so that's the proposal section. And then we have agency follow-up and response. We don't have anything in here right now, but this is where we're going to place the answers to the questions that you would submit on January 31st. And then the next section is scoring. So here we have a scoring sheet that we prepared that you can use. This, again, is just a tool. If you have a magnifying glass, it will work great. But it's just something you could use to document your scores if you prefer to have like actual paper in your hand prior to putting it into Neighborly. It's nothing that is required. We also have an Excel one where it will just add up and it's got all the formulas built in too. And then we have the scoring staff evaluation tool, which we reviewed earlier. We have prior year funding results if you're interested in looking at those, and staff contacts. So that's the SharePoint page. Next is Neighborly. Neighborly is only used to input your scoring. So everybody should have received an email today from Neighborly saying you've been added to 37 proposals to score. So just a quick glance into Neighborly. Same as the SharePoint page. If you don't have an account or if you forgot your password, just like any other platform, you're going to go in, reset your password, get the email, come back, do what you have to do. And so basically, you're going to be sent to a portal, and the pages is going to have a list of all of the proposals that you have to score. Then once you score it, it's going to go down under that list, and it's going to say what's scored. So you can kind of track what you've scored and what you haven't. So as you go through, you have this report, which looks basically exactly like our scoring and evaluation tool. So you just go through, input your scores, submit on the bottom, and you're done. So by February 22nd, I believe, 4 o'clock, we just need all 37 submitted. So this is just a breakdown of scoring. So as commissioners, your total score will be 69 points, and then staff has an additional 30 points for a total perfect score would be 99 points. So we'll take the average of the 7 commissioners and then add staff score to that, and that will be the score that we use to rank when we do those informal funding recommendations. When we add for Scottsdale Cares, we're going to average it by 8, not by 7, because there'll be an additional score from the Scottsdale Mayor's Youth Commission Council. Yes. So far, we have 2 volunteers. We're looking for 1 or 2 more, maybe. But we reviewed everything with them last Friday, and they're pretty excited. Staff contacts. Feel free to contact myself or Melissa anytime for technical, anything you guys need. We can cover it. And that's everything, unless y'all have some questions.
Chad and Melissa, every year you make this process as efficient and streamlined as possible for us as commissioners. Really appreciate that. Thank you so much. I have some questions, but I'm gonna let the other commissioners share first. Mary?
Okay, thank you. Question on what's available. 160 was available for CDBG funds related to homelessness supportive services. Was there any pocket of money available for the CDBG non-public services?
Yes, we did make, I believe it was $60,000 available, and we did not receive, excuse me.
And so what happens to those funds?
Chair Young, members of the commission, those funds will be either used next year or potentially in any set-aside funding that we may have that we will be bringing to you in the near future.
Okay, so I have the same question about the SRP MIC, the one of the areas that only had one submission. And if those funds, excuse me, are not allocated to this one proposal, what, may that be carried forward as well, or what happens with those funds?
Vice Chair Jung, members of the commission, those funds potentially could be carried forward or allocated to a different city program.
Okay.
With the one submittal is for both congregate meals and home delivered meals together as one.
And that can't be separated out?
No.
Okay. Thank you.
I just want to ask a follow-on question to what Mary was just asking. If it's money that then gets allocated to another city service, do we have some input in that? Or does that now rest with the city council?
Chair Lori, I'm going to let Mary Witkowski field that one.
Chair Lurie, members of the commission, it would go back for discussion with regards to human services needs or other recreational needs or adaptive services in the city where funds are needed.
Thank you. Other questions?
And follow up to that, Barry, so then we would, go ahead. I think you were about to say something.
My apologies. Generally, I don't believe the Human Services Commission does have a role on where those funds would go if they are not chosen for home-delivered meals or congregate meals. That then would be an internal discussion with leadership.
And doesn't go to council. Okay. Gotcha. I did have one question. Thanks very much, Chad and Melissa. I don't know who would like to field this question, but on the CDBG funds at the bottom, non-public that we talked about, that there were no proposals received. Have there been historically proposals received for that, or not?
Chair Cooley, members of the commission, previous 2 years we did receive proposals for housing modifications for disabled. This year we did not. Prior years we have received public facility proposals. This is a source of funds that we do like to keep in-house for our housing rehabilitation programs and any public facility projects that we may want to do in-house as well.
Very good. Thank you.
Chad, just a quick one. You said there are 37 proposals this year. What did we have last year? Do you recall?
Commissioner Turgle, last year we had 37 proposals.
Oh, okay. I couldn't recall. And secondly, when the staff went through their initial evaluation, were there any proposals that were deleted, cut out, eliminated?
Commissioner Turgle, none were cut out or eliminated. I think a good gauge to see what staff thought about proposals will be in the questions that were asked to the agencies in the human services evaluation. We did have to move a few proposals from different funding sources because they didn't meet the criteria of that particular funding source. That's also noted in their scoring and also in their human services evaluation as well.
Okay, well, thank you. One more thing. When will we be talking or hearing about the set-aside?
Soon.
Chair Lurie, members of the commission, February 13th.
Thank you.
Chad, I just had one question about sequencing with the Mayor's Youth Council. So they're going to develop some recommendations or scoring or whatever. Will we see those before we make our recommendations as well?
Chair Dodds, members of the commission, they will be presented, their score can be presented at the informal review. So they're as a group, they're going to have one score together, and then that will be added to the average. So if you like, I can present their scores at that meeting.
I'd just be curious about that. The other question I had is whether they are going to give us any input on the endowment funds, because those are, I think, specifically dedicated to youth programs, or there's a provision that they might be used for youth activities.
Commissioner Dodds, members of the commission, yes, that is correct. I'm not sure if I understood the entire question.
Well, just whether they'll be giving us a score with regard to the two proposals for and the use of the endowment funds.
Chair Dodds, members of the commission, the Scottsdale Youth Council will be scoring Scottsdale Cares, not endowment.
I just ask that perhaps in the future we could add.
Oh, okay, I'm sorry, I misunderstood you. Yeah, definitely.
Okay. I had Jeff, go ahead.
Chad, on the sheet you sent out with the various proposals and their dollar amounts, I see on the general funds that there's not a number associated with Paradise Valley YMCA in terms of the number of proposed served.
That was excuse me. Commissioner Jameson, members of the commission, we had asked in our human services evaluation for that number because it wasn't clear in their proposal, and they did not respond. So it's unknown.
Okay, thank you. And this is a comment for future purposes. I know that in my research to score these, I look at their 990s. And I don't know, that's a lot to add to the proposal itself. If we could get a link either to their website or to another website to easily get to those 990s, or the most current ones, that would be helpful.
If I'm not mistaken, there's the website I believe is GuideStar.
That's one, yeah.
Yeah, that we could.
That's if you want to do it yourself, go to guidestar.org, create an account, and you can look up the 990 there.
They often have them on their websites.
Some nonprofits do. Most of these do not.
Yeah.
Chair Lurie, members of the commission, we can forward a link to GuideStar.
Excellent, thank you.
Mary, say that again, I'm
We
sorry.
can forward a link to GuideStar.
All right, thank you.
Mary, are you saying the link to their?
No, to GuideStar, so you can feel free to create an account.
It's guidestar.org. Right.
Yeah.
I had a few additional questions. Our questions to the agencies are due on January 31st. Our scoring is due on February 20th. How much time do the agencies have to respond to our questions?
Chair Lurie, members of the commission, I believe we're going to take a week to organize and get the questions who they need to be to. There may be some questions that staff can answer ourselves, and then we're going to send it out to them. So they're going to have 2 weeks from when we send it to them to respond. And then you'll have those back and still have, I believe, an additional 2 weeks to review those prior to putting your scores in.
And will we get some kind of notification that the responses have come back then?
Chair Lurie, members of the commission, yes, that will be all done via email and let you know that they're available on SharePoint. So we're just going to post them all at the same time.
Okay. If a vendor does not meet one of the priority requirements, do we proceed with rating them or just count points against them for not meeting that priority?
Chair Lurie, members of the commission, staff has already reviewed them, and our determination, everyone that's in there is meeting a priority. If you don't feel that is correct, you can reflect that in your personal scoring.
Okay. I believe that's all the questions then, and so just a reminder to everybody that we've got roughly about 3 weeks then to read and get our questions in. And I know it's a challenging process and takes some time, but appreciate everybody's diligence on that.
Good evening, Chair Lori, Vice Chair Jung, members of the commission. Happy New Year. I am going to close out the meeting by giving my director's report. And despite the holidays, we have had a lot going on in our department. So let me see here, Jean, can you go next slide, Jean? Sorry, I don't know if I can do it for myself, but. All right. Oh, so next one over. Thank you. So my first slide here, and she has joined us, I want to congratulate and welcome Jessica Rapp, who has been selected as our new Human Services Manager after a very competitive recruitment. So welcome, Jessica, to your first Human Services, probably not your first, but as a Human Services Manager, I wanted to welcome her to the team, let the commission know that Jessica has joined our leadership team. And just briefly, a little bit about Jessica. It's hard to say it all, but she has been with the city for 25 years. She has worked in various roles within the Human Services Department, and she has also worked in Parks and Recreation, running the Leisure Education Facility Booking Office. And I really just have to say, one thing about Jessica is I so admire her dedication to this community. No matter what role she has been in, she lives in Scottsdale, her kids are in Scottsdale, she has worked in Scottsdale, so I'm just really admire her and looking forward to working with her in this new role. So welcome, Jessica. Next slide, please, Jean. So as I mentioned, we have been very busy, and this is just a snapshot of our 2024 holiday special program numbers, and they're pretty impressive. So for Adopt a Senior, we had 351 participants in that program, and then for donors, we had 228 donors. For Adopt a Family, we had 237 families, and the donors were 162. And Jessica can correct me if I'm wrong, but even if we don't have an exact donor-to-participant match, our nonprofit partner, Scottsdale Community Partners, helps us out to make sure that we have enough to put into the holiday bags that the families receive. So here's a picture of Jessica and I with some of the Scottsdale Community Partner board members there at Vista del Camino. So always a really great time of year. It's great to see everybody who benefits from this program, but also the families and the donors that are contributing to this program and the staff and volunteers that get to work the program. So really powerful program, wonderful to do around the holidays. One thing that I would like us to try to do is right down here we have an estimated monetary value. This kind of goes to the data collection. So this is really just an estimate this year, and I hope that we can hone in a little bit more. But really for Adopt a Senior, about $75,000 total in terms of what was handed out to the seniors that were part of that program. And for Adopt a Family, $156,000, which really worked out to about $661 per family on average. So I'd like to get a little bit more into those details, but again, just all in all, a great program, a lot of the community served, and really proud of the work that it went into that. So that's that. Up next, and I want everyone to take a nice good look at this picture here. We're continuing to work on the food bank expansion, and I know that Sue O and I feel the same way. This is a picture of the 30-gallon water heater that we have been waiting for so that the county can come in and do an assessment. It arrived this week. It has been installed, and on the 13th, we are getting our inspection done at the McKellips warehouse site. So that's really kind of the last in the permitting process that we need to get through. And then from there, if we pass, we're going to be able to start moving food from Vista del Camino onto the McKellips warehouse. And again, just as a reminder, being able to have our food bank operate out of a warehouse similar to other larger food banks is going to really be efficient, effective, more safe. And again, we will continue to have satellite food available at our human service centers. So really excited to see how the next part of this project goes. Next slide. Also, I know I want to recognize Commissioner Cooley for his part in this too, but the Scottsdale Area Association of Realtors donated $1,000 to our career center at Vista, so we will make sure that those funds go to good use and report out, and there's a really good picture of Sue receiving the check. So Commissioner Cooley, whatever you had as a part of this, thank you very much, and thank you to the Scottsdale Area Association of Realtors. Next up, we've talked already a little bit about this, but I always think it's fun to put in a picture that the Scottsdale's Scottsdale Mayor's Youth Council is going to be assisting in part of the funding work that we are doing. So, Christy, it'll be interesting to see how the youth participate and hear about their feedback. So glad to have them involved in the work. Next slide. We have got the annual point-in-time count coming up, and this is going to be held on January 28th from 6 a.m. until noon. And if any of the Human Services Advisory Commission is interested, please let us know. You can reach out to Sue if you want to participate in the point-in-time count. Just as a little bit of reference, last year in 2024, which I understand was a very rainy day, point-in-time count was at 89. In 2023, those numbers were 64. In 2022, 114. So always a very interesting and important project, and Human Services works very closely with the police department to go out and do this point-in-time count. So again, if you're interested, please let Sue O know. Got some news about Day Relief and Community House, and we know that Pastor Jackie Parks has been to our meetings in the past to present. Community House is going to be able to host Day Relief at the South Scottsdale Presbyterian Church with a month-to-month lease with Impact Church. So just as a refresher, Impact Church is the organization that purchased that property that she's been operating on. I did send a message to Pastor Jackie to find out if she had any timelines on that, or if it's just kind of just until things get started. So I'll continue to keep you all updated on that. But Impact Church has agreed to provide a 60-day notice when that lease agreement is going to terminate. So good news for Day Relief. Always like to update everybody on the recreation programming that we're doing at Vista del Camino. So now we're into winter and we're continuing on with that programming. So we've got a program tomorrow night, and then at the ending of January, February 7th and February 21st. And we also have, I can't remember the exact title of the leisure education class, but there's also a specialty recreation class that's going to be happening at Vista. And we really are working hard to open up Vista del Camino to be a community center with programming happening not just for the Yaqui community, but for all of South Scottsdale to enjoy that really special community center right in the heart of the Greenbelt. So good news there. Very, very, very proud to let all of you know that our strategic plan is complete. So at our next meeting in January, I'm going to present on that in a more comprehensive manner, but the work has been done. It is not going to be just put up on a shelf. This is going to be a very fluid document, and we want to continue to get feedback on the work that Human Services can do. So I will make sure to send out the plan with all the goals, strategies, and tactics out to the Commission for you to review before our next meeting in January, but really proud that that project is done. Before I Happy New Year to all of you, because I didn't have a chance to put in an update from Paiute Neighborhood Center, and I know Deanna, the manager, is here with us tonight and provided an update. And just one of the things that I thought was really important to mention that's happening at Paiute Neighborhood Center is the ESL classes that are happening. And the ESL classes are funded through Partners for Paiute, and I thought it was really pretty impressive that this class happens every Tuesday and Wednesday from 5 to 7, and this month we had 17 participants engage in that program. So really a successful program. We want to really thank Partners for Paiute for funding that program, and hopefully we can continue that on into the future. And with that, that is my director's report, and I do really want to wish all of you a very happy new year. On behalf of myself and the team, we are looking forward to working with you in 2025.
Thank you, Kara. That was a very informative report. I know we can't discuss items, but I think I can speak on behalf of the commission in welcoming Jessica Rapp to the management team. Congratulations. Really happy to have you on board in that new role.
Thank you.
I also concur. Great report, Kara. Thank you very much. And just since we've had some movement within the staff, if you could provide us with an updated org chart at some point, that would be fantastic. Thank you.
Commissioner Scheer sure will.
Good suggestion. I'm sorry.
One other comment. Kara, thank you so much for the holidays special program numbers, including the dollar amount. That's really, really interesting. I appreciate your focus on the metrics.
And do we have any future agenda items that want to be raised? Jeff?
Chair Lori, I would like to see if we can have a visit with our new mayor to see what her priorities are for human services for the city.
And with that, could I get a motion to adjourn the meeting?
So moved.
Second?
All right, and a roll call vote.
Okay, Chair Lori,
Yes.
Vice Chair Jung,
Yes.
Commissioner Turgel,
Yes.
Commissioner Dodds,
Yes.
Commissioner Shear,
Yes.
Commissioner Cooley,
Yes.
Commissioner Jameson.
Yes.
We are adjourned.